Hello out there. We're on the air. We got our co-host today. Thank God. It's been MIA. He's been off the daily Bitcoin journey lately. Don't know why. Couldn't tell you. But he's here today. So welcome, Arnie. You might not recognize him. He's been away for so long. Anyways, good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday, February the 11th. How's everybody doing? Oh, Zapstream's not working again. Fuck. Oh, well, I don't know what to do. It won't even load for me, the Zapstream. Okay, we're removing it. Sorry, Zapstream. Arnie here. Okay, let's get to her. We got a good show today. I got a new... Hey, stop. Got a new, something new to share with everybody. Got a couple cool things today. It's going to be a fun one. I don't know how long it's going to be. I'm supposed to golf today. You might be wondering, what? Golf minus 43? We got simulators here. We got sims. We got the sims. So I'm supposed to be golfing today at some point, shortly after the show. So we'll see. See how things go. I don't know if they're going to be going though or not today because they just came back from a bachelor party. So yesterday. Anyways, that's enough about me. Let's get to the chat here. This is the Daily Bitcoin Journey. This show focuses on actionable, oh my goodness, actionable and logical discussion for Bitcoiners and for future Bitcoiners. And we just got a very fat zap to start the show today. My goodness. Okay, we got a couple. We got 888 sats zap from Letha. Said, thanks, Jor. From Letha. Thank you, Letha. And we got an anonymous zap to start the show today. For a Tuesday, this is very good. Very good news. 15,000 sats. Oh. You might be wondering how we're receiving zaps right now. Well, you can easily scan this code with your Lightning wallet and you can send whatever amount you want. 1 sat, 2 sat, 15,000 sats. So that's pretty cool. Thank you very much for those zaps to start the show today. Letha and Anonymous. Much appreciated. Mucho appreciate. Jacob says, understanding Bitcoin is proof of work. Isn't that beautiful? Absolutely it is. Absolutely it is. Santino, look at this. Good morning, GM. Stayed home from work today, so have the missus with me, tuning in from Texas. And I've met some, I shouldn't say met, but virtually met some really great people from the state of Texas lately. And it's definitely on my soon-to-do list. I got a couple destinations in mind, but they're a little bit more far-fetched, further down the road, further into Bitcoin's history, we'll say. But Texas is going to be one of them that I get to soon. I need to get there. It just seems like the place for me. It's like I'm I don't even know what you'd call me. Very small town guy for sure. Grew up in a small town, moved back to a small town, and love country music. Texas would be good with that. But even with Nashville, it's like it took me 34 years to get to Nashville, and it's like a city that's built for me. It's like a city, but a very small town at the same time with country music and just like the best place. So Nashville, Texas, I would probably live in either one of those places. I've never been to Texas yet, but from what I've heard and seen and feel, I would be a pretty good, Texas would be a pretty good fit for me. Anyways, good morning, Santino. Good morning, Mrs. Santino. You're going to learn a little bit about Bitcoin today, hopefully. Cleaning Machine, good morning. Killer, Letha, Phil, what a crew. What a crew to start the day today. Tom's in the chat. Rising River, good morning. Says, when I see Arnie's QR code, I'm sending sat. So this big fat zap was from Lazy Rising River. Thought it was Lazy River. Did you change that? Or was that a different person? Lazy River. Who knows? Rick Robinson says, good morning. We are so early, but for how much longer? I wonder. Well, probably about the time when the US government starts buying Bitcoin, we will no longer be early. I would agree that we're not really early anymore. I mean, we are big picture, but like if you really want to make a sizable dent in your life, you would have unfortunately had to have bought Bitcoin before January 2024. That was when we went from early to not early anymore in my mind. I think that'll be the point when we look back. I know it kind of seems like it's been going up and down, but we're like almost 2x since then. No, maybe almost 3x since then. So I think that was it. When the ETF started buying, you could no longer front run BlackRock. That's when we weren't early anymore, which is pretty unfortunate for a lot of people out there. They had a lot of opportunity and they watched Netflix instead. Buck 52,000. Good morning, Josh O. Wah. Good morning from Ontario, Jordan Arn. Thank you. Looks like we got a couple. We got an 888 sad zap here. Looks like from Josh Owa saying Arn chaos causer. No, the shows suck when Arnie's causing chaos. They suck because I'm too distracted. I need to be focused here. And we got another very fat zap here. It says 8787, so 8,788 sats. And says, do I have to report this to the criminals in Ottawa? As an expense, probably. Is that what you're meaning? Yeah, that's right. If you're claiming zaps, then every time you zap somebody, it's actually a write-off for you. It's an expense. So I think that's what this is alluding to. I made a post on Nostr about that last night. So 8,878 zaps. No, 8,787 zaps. It's a tough one. Anyways, thank you. Big thank you. Timber Crasher, good morning, Bitcoiners. Build with Bitcoin, change the world. Your long-term outlook will massively outpace and win against those with a short-term fiat mindset. That is very true. Those are some wise words from Timber Crasher. Always got some good stuff in there. Cleaning Machine, 100%. Yes. Rick Costa, our guy. How we doing, Rick? Good morning, my friend. Let's see how we're doing in the like department. By the way, thank you to everybody yesterday for heading over to the Maple Bitcoin channel. My God. I think we got 400 subscribers yesterday, which is pretty cool. I mean, I figured it'd be fairly popular because when we posted a couple of videos there, all the comments were just like, you guys need to do a channel together. So big shout out. You guys are awesome. Legendary. I would say legendary, not awesome, but let's check out Maple Bitcoin quickly. I'm guessing most people here are already subscribed to Maple Bacon, but just in case, I'll throw the link in the links in the show notes at the very top of the page here and now in the chat. So if you haven't yet, we did a pretty big dent in this yesterday. I think we went from 250 to 297 during yesterday's show. So big shout out to you guys and girls. Thank you. But anyways, let's get back to what Rick was saying here. Smashing the likes. How are we doing for that? I'm feeling good today. I'm in a really good mood. I'm feeling dialed in. Although I slept in today an hour again. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Maybe a little bit of burnout. We'll see. I should probably take a little bit of a break here at some point. What was I doing? Jesus. Okay, so we got 40 people in here, and I gave you guys a couple seconds there to beat me to it. 22 likes. That's not bad. We'll take that. We're happy with that, Rick. Bitcoin Buddha, also known as Spaceman, formerly when Zapstream used to work. Morning, Bitcoin Buddha. Great to see you, my friend. Dizzy Willow. Hey, look at this. We got Kale from Madrid. Wow. What an audience today. Look at that. We got Italy, Spain, Morocco. My God. I thought the majority of people were from North America, but I guess I was wrong. And we got a 78 sat zap from somebody who said, been a while. So somebody who hasn't been here for a while just zapped 78 sats. Thank you. Jason's in the chat. Good morning, Jason, one of our Canadians. Cheers to you. Oh, I still got this on. Sorry, everybody. Mert says, I'm also here like every day. Yep, Mertz has been very, I keep wanting to call you Mertz. I got a really good buddy. One of my best friends is named Mertz. I know that it's not him. He's not, he wouldn't be showing up to a Bitcoin show. That's for sure. I'll say that about him. Great guy, but not, I don't know, not a real go-getter. Moro says almost everyone I know is a shitcoiner because of unit buys. Yeah. I'm trying to get them to stack sats only. The challenge is there are no exchanges. Peer-to-peer is the only way. Man, you read my mind, Moro. You read my mind. This is what we're talking about today. This is going to be a big part of the conversation today. Anyways, good to see you, my friend. Ian in the chat. Good morning, Ian. And BitBilly. Had a good chat with BitBilly yesterday. Might be doing a little bit of work with BitBilly in the future here. We'll see. We'll see. Anyways, great to see you, BitBilly. Josh says, Jordan, do you have any archive shows about nostr? I didn't see any. Yeah, I got probably 4 or 5. I did create a playlist on my channel called nostr, so you might want to start with that. I haven't been really great with maintaining my playlist. It's actually something that's on my short-term to-do list here, but I think there are some videos in there about nostr. So I would start there. But I'll be talking about it a lot more in the future. Nostr's just getting started here. Cleaner Machine says, Proton emailed me yesterday and you can't buy Bitcoin with a business account. So all good here for now. Proton emailed you? That doesn't sound right. Why would Proton be emailing you about buying Bitcoin with a business account? Guessing you meant somebody else, but I could be wrong. Let me know what you're talking about. I don't understand that one. I don't think Proton would be emailing you unless you tried using their Proton wallet to store your Bitcoin. But I don't think that they would be telling you no. I don't know. I haven't used that one yet. Anyway, should say hi to Rumble too. I see there's several people watching over in Rumble this morning. So good morning, Rumble. We're going to be doing more and more on Rumble. Tantrum Shack. Meant the criminals in Ottawa would tax me for being so giving in my spending. Oh, so there's Tantrum Shack who sent that. Thank you. That was a nice fat zap, my friend. Thank you very much. Yeah, that zap cost a lot of carbon. We'll bring out our 4th carbon tax here in Canada. And look at this. We got Josiah all the way from Singapore. Singapore. Wow, what a venture. Actually met with a lady, a really very nice lady in a couple weeks ago. She's from Singapore. Very nice. She was looking for information on SuperBacked. Been a lot of people asking about SuperBack lately. And I think it's going to become more and more popular. It's kind of cool. It's cool that, there's a lot of things that I'm just very blown away by at this point. I don't know. It's hard to explain. I didn't really foresee this channel going where it has. I didn't really foresee a few other things going where they've gone. So it's awesome for me. But anyways, the SuperBack stuff is going to be very exciting to me because we're going to be the only Bitcoin advisory company that's offering this type of service. It's not based on SuperBacked. It's got security and inheritance. It just uses SuperBacked to enhance things there. So it's exciting. There's going to be banks, lawyers, notaries. They're all going to be using the SuperBacked software in the future, but you're going to have to pay probably 3, 4, 5x for that. Plus, you're going to be fully KYC'd. So something like this at this stage, you need to be taking advantage of what's available right now, including SuperBacked. Yeah, that makes sense. Bitcoin well. Cleaner Machine, you can actually use a Bitcoin or a business account. You can. I don't know if I would be much help here, but I have helped people with a business account before get set up with Bitcoin well in Canada and the US, I believe. There was some stipulations with a business account in the US that they told me about. So maybe just email them or email me and I'll put you in touch with somebody there. But you definitely can get a business account with Bitcoin Well, both in Canada and the US. You just have to provide some documentation in terms of like your shareholder, and I don't know if it's shareholder agreement, but articles of incorporation would be one. There's a few other things you have to provide to Bitcoin Wealth to start a business account. And I'm going to be actually doing it myself here soon. Morning, Ginger. Good to see you. I saw I got a message from you this morning, Ginger. So I'll get to that hopefully right after the show here, but sometime today. Okay, let's get to the mempool. Very, very very bone dry in the mempool today. Look at that. That's rare. Probably in the last year, I don't know how long we've been doing this, November 2023. So a year and 4 months. This has probably been seen twice. Maybe this might be the only time. I think it was very empty in the last couple of weeks here, but I don't think we did a show when it happened. So this is incredibly, incredibly rare. I want to see what happens here when this fills up. Oh, I guess it's going to start a new block right when this one fills up. I'm thinking, let's just watch and observe this, because there you go. That's what happened. So it's kind of cool. Once they thought that the next block to be confirmed was full, that's when a new block essentially. They're not real blocks though. It's just kind of a way to batch them together. But this one even was pretty empty here. 883318. Other than that though, it looks like there's a empty one. Yeah, it's been pretty, I don't know if that was because there was no demand or they just mined an empty block, but either way, yeah, looks like it's been okay till right now. Look at this one. Bitfufu pool. Let's see how many they've got 83 Bitcoin. Good for them. Good for them. This stuff's so cool to look at to me. So they've actually been winning quite a few blocks here. They won the last one. They won one 14 hours ago. Wow. You must have a decent amount of hash power going into that. That's a lot of blocks. So they've won 83 in the last, I don't know how many. When did they start? November. November was the first block that they won, and they already have 3 Bitcoin. This is a miner to keep our eyes on, folks. Bitfufu pool. Interesting name. But it's pretty cool. See their address here. They only got 3 Bitcoin in it, so they've been moving it all out. They've been flowing it out. Yeah, there you go. They sent it all to this wallet. Look at that. All their block rewards they sent just a couple days ago. It's kind of cool that you can see all this, isn't it? I don't know. They got 2,000 Bitcoin in this wallet with 7 UTXOs. Wow. I don't know. This stuff's interesting to me. Maybe I'm just a nerd. Total received 800,000 Bitcoin. Wow. So this is their UTXOs. They got 1 UTXO for 1.5 thousand Bitcoin. 1,500 Bitcoin they got in 1 UTXO. This one's got 18 Bitcoin. This one's got 111 Bitcoin, 637 Bitcoin, and 86 Bitcoin. Really cool, I think. S2 Mush. S2 Mush. Is it good or bad when it's this low? Depends who you ask. If you ask miners, bad, because you have to keep in mind that every block mined, it comes with a fixed subsidy with it, which is 3.15 Bitcoin, plus all the fees within that block. And I mean, recently, even when it's like kind of quiet like this, it's not like they make a whole lot. Like let's look to see what Kung Fu Pool got for the last block that they mined. Or sorry, Bitfufu. So in this case, they won the subsidy, 3.1 Bitcoin, plus they only got 1 million sats in transaction fees. So at this point, it's not like whether it's 1 sat per vbyte, 2 sat per vbyte, 0, like an empty block, it's not a whole lot right now for the miners to make a huge difference. When it's been sustainably low this long, that would be hurting the miners right now. Not to a huge degree, but think about it in like 4 years from now. Well, I shouldn't even say that, because I imagine the price in dollar terms would be much higher by then. So there's so many things that factor into this mempool, and the demand and the fees and everything. But for generally speaking, for when fees are low on the mempool, that's a bad thing for miners, because they're making less money. If they're spending the same amount, but the amount that they're getting as rewards are much lower when the fees are low. But for like somebody like me, who's either looking to consolidate some UTXOs or send Bitcoin or set up a lightning channel, whatever, close the lightning channel, when fees are low, it's a really good thing. You have to be taking advantage of times like this. So it's not good or bad. It's just a free market, which is awesome to me. Chad says, just means that there's no transaction fees added to the block reward. Yes, correct. Lapad, good morning. Good to see you. Jason says, GameStop about to become a Bitcoin company. Wow. Damn. I was thinking about buying some GameStop shares yesterday after I saw that they were met with Sailor. That's big. That's a big deal, because there's a lot of people who pay attention to GameStop, or there was. I don't know if it's still the case or not, but wow. Morrow says, time to consolidate UTXOs. Cheap block space. Yep. So I was going to say, actually, you know what? Let's take this a little bit further here, because I like this stuff, and I think it's very important to help people kind of understand this. So I've been talking about on this show, I don't know if I've talked about it too much on the show, but in our 365 days of Bitcoin course that we're doing, we're on day 42 today. But one of the shows I did was like a template for UTXOs, something that people can follow. And it doesn't have to be like exactly to the percentage, to the amount, but it's just something where people can start, I think. And as I think back here about what I suggested versus what this wallet is doing here. So where is this wallet? Let me go to Kung Fu Fu, BitFuFu. So their address here, we're going to find their main address. Where was that? Right here? Yes. So if we look at their UTXOs that they're keeping, and this is a little bit different because I mean, it's a pool, public. I don't know if they're a public pool or not, but this is kind of what I suggested exactly when I think about it, because I said, take your Bitcoin stack, whatever you have for Bitcoin, and create one UTXO with about half the amount. This is just kind of like a place for people to start. You take half of the amount of Bitcoin that you have, you put that in one UTXO. And this is what I've done myself. So this isn't like advice. This is what I do. But you take half of your Bitcoin, put it in one UTXO, and then that's kind of like your generational UTXO. That one's never going to move. And again, this, depending on what you're holding Bitcoin for, depending on what your future plans are, that's what mine is. So I'm going to keep that 50% UTXO. That's my generational UTXO. And then I'm going to have a couple of smaller ones, like let's say 20% of my stack, and then 10% of my stack, and then 5, 2, 2, 1, 1, stuff like that. So that's kind of my template that I used. And it looks like these guys are doing something very similar to that. Not exactly, but if we look at the total wallet balance here, it's 2,600 Bitcoin. And they got about, just under half of it in one UTXO. So this is very similar to the UTXO template that I suggested. And when you're talking about UTXOs, you have to be concerned with two different things here on each end of the scale. And this is important to understand. So on one side of the scale, you have to worry about your privacy. So if you had a big UTXO, let's say that you had all of your Bitcoin in one UTXO, and you wanted to spend some of that Bitcoin at some point in the future. You make a transaction, whoever you sent it to, they can follow that back and see your full stack of Bitcoin there. So for privacy reasons, you want to keep your UTXOs somewhat smaller. On the flip side of things, though, you want to make sure that your UTXO size are large enough where you don't have to worry too much about transaction fees. Because if you had to, let's say you had 1,000 small UTXOs and you wanted to spend some Bitcoin, and in order to pay for whatever you're paying for, you need to combine, like, let's say 50 UTXOs just to make that payment. They had to combine 50 UTXOs to pay somebody. That's going to cost you a lot of transaction fees. So you really have to find a nice balance between privacy and transaction fees, somewhere in there. And that's kind of how you have to structure your UTXOs. Again, this is very, very, I would say valuable information. Like, there's probably people in the future here that are going to be charging large amounts to manage people's UTXOs and to educate people on their UTXOs. So good to understand. Good to understand here. Daniel says, late to the game, morning savages. Good morning, Daniel. It's okay. We're still here. We're still plugging away. Actually, let me, speaking of that, let me text my buddies to see if we're still golfing today. Sounds like we are. All right. So I'll have to keep this a little bit short today. That's okay. Nope. Okay, well, I didn't mean to bring this up, but Moro says, I usually have 100K to 1 million sats in a post-mix wallet. And a few UTXOs, that's what I used to spend. Wasabi wallet is so underrated on privacy. I'm not going to lie, I've never used Wasabi. Sad. But I have started doing something in terms of privacy, in terms of maybe converting some sats into non-KYC. I've been doing a couple different things, and I'm actually going to be doing, I don't want to talk about it on the public show. I know you guys can understand that, but it just doesn't make sense to do that. But there are about 3 or 4 ways, and I'm going to be talking about this both in the 365 and in the private stuff when we do like Wednesday morning chats. I'm going to be talking about some techniques for privacy, we'll call it. Getting some of those sats to be a lot more private for you. Okay, let's keep it rolling here. What did I have today? Was there any news? I don't know. I don't know, but I do want to talk about something here. Maybe we'll just do this because this is kind of the main part of the show today anyways. All right, so I titled this show today, titled the show Team Bitcoin. And I want to start this. This is going to lead to, where is it here? It's going to lead to 5 ways we can improve Bitcoin. That's where this is going to go to. So I'm going to talk about these things. And it's not like technical stuff. It's things I think would push adoption faster within Bitcoin and make it easier for the average person to grasp and secure. It's still very difficult at this stage. But anyways, I just wanted a couple things with this Team Bitcoin thing. I think it's important. I think that I kind of realize now, I have a very small channel in the grand scheme of things, but I still understand the fact that there are, people watch this and people are trying to learn. And, what I say on here can be meaningful to a lot of people. And there's a lot of people out there who are in this exact position. And even though you don't have a YouTube channel right now, just understand how important your words are and how important your message is here, because we have to be very focused on pushing this thing forward without being too pushy, but also making sure that people understand that Bitcoin is much different than everything else. And that's part of just being a Bitcoiner. Unfortunately, we don't have like a marketing team within Bitcoin to do this for us. It's up to us. And so when you see posts, when you see things on Twitter or Nostr or YouTube, anybody who's speaking positively about Bitcoin, please support them in any way that you can. Anyway, and I've been really going out of my way to do this myself, especially on YouTube and Nostr. But you have to understand how much of a role that you are playing in this right now. Again, even if you don't have a Bitcoin blog or a Bitcoin business or a Bitcoin channel or anything like that, just understand how valuable you are in this movement right now. We're all in Team Bitcoin. And I love that. Sailor said this a lot. We're all in Team Bitcoin. And it's the absolute truth. And I think the more people we can get into Bitcoin, the more average people we can get into Bitcoin, the more different this world's going to look at the end of this thing. And it's up to us, which is kind of crazy. Well, I don't remember signing up for it, but here we are. And so I just want everybody to fully understand how meaningful you are in this revolution that's playing out right now. So just don't take it lightly. Do not take it lightly. And everybody's going to be on their own kind of path in terms of how public they want to be with it, how private they want to be. That's okay. It doesn't matter. You can be totally anonymous and still push this thing forward, truly. So just understand that. So that's kind of the Team Bitcoin aspect of this. And I do want to talk about a couple different things here with how we can improve things within Bitcoin. Letha says 32 likes. Yeah, it's kind of sad. We got 60 people in here just in YouTube alone. And it's kind of what I'm talking about. Like, I don't know what it is. I think we just kind of been built, just like the fiat world and the propaganda we've had to go through for forever here. It seems like people are very resistant to wanting to support and encourage other people. I don't know why. I think because in the fiat world, it's a very dog-eat-dog world. It is, because there's an abundance of money and there's a scarcity of assets available. And in that situation, people feel like it's dog eat dog, right? But when you have scarcity in the money, that creates abundance everywhere, truly. And so just kind of understand that. And it takes a lot of time. We have to basically deprogram our minds from what we've kind of grown up in, and to have that sort of mentality, like a dog eat dog world. But just understand that you supporting other Bitcoiners is helping Bitcoin, is helping yourself. And that's the beautiful thing about this whole thing. That's the beautiful thing about Team Bitcoin itself, is that if you press like, if you subscribe to a channel, if you leave a comment saying, you know, I really enjoyed this, thanks for doing this, or send a zap, you're essentially investing back in what you already have. It's kind of crazy, but it's the truth when you really stop and think about it, which is much different than the fiat system that we grew up in. That doesn't happen there at all, right? And so yeah, I just really want people to understand that, because it is important. It's an important part of this journey here, that we're all going through this thing together. And there are no Bitcoin experts out there either. So just understand that too. If you are somebody who's kind of just like finding people that they can trust within Bitcoin and checking things out, just understand that there are no experts in Bitcoin right now. This thing's only 16 years old. So anybody who claims to be a Bitcoin expert is full of shit. So just understand that. Do your own research. Don't trust anything that I say on the show. Just take it with a grain of salt. Consider it, but then verify it somewhere else. That applies to this channel. That applies to Maple Bitcoin channel. That applies to anybody who you listen to. Don't just hear something and take it as gospel. You have to get into a habit of hearing it, comprehending it, and then verifying it somewhere else that it's actually true. Because especially for a show like this, where I really have no script, there's no edits, there's no scripts. And so I do say some stuff that's probably incorrect. I'm not going to lie. It's not, I don't do it intentionally. It's just because that's the structure of the show. There's going to be some good stuff. There's going to be some incorrect stuff. So just take that how you want to, but it is important, I think, to point out. Morrow says, I use your channel to orange pill. That's good. And my channel typically hasn't been the best for that, because, you know, I get into a lot of different subjects. This style of presentation isn't for everybody. But I really do think that Maple Bacon, or I keep wanting to say Maple Bacon, Maple Bitcoin is going to be perfect for something like that, because it's going to be a much more family-friendly show, you would say, which is needed, very much needed. So my channel is going to be good for like getting into the weeds and stuff and having some good thought experiments, but that channel is going to be good for like helping people really understand what we're holding here, that they can watch with their mom or their kid or whoever. So it takes kind of a lot of different things. So I'm hoping to hit a couple of them here. But thank you, Morrow. Terry says, Piano Matty B from Winnipeg has a small YouTube channel, does morning technical analysis for Team Bitcoin. Not a trader, though. All right, let's see if we can find them. Let's track them down. From Winnipeg, Winterpeg. I wouldn't say I'm a huge fan of Winterpeg, but I think I've heard of this guy before, actually. Piano Matty B. Bitcoin technical analysis. Well, this looks kind of cool. If you're into Winterpeg, folks. I mean, I can't really talk. I'm like 3 hours away from Winnipeg, so. All right, and the Fed watch party, Super Bowl shutout, and looks like daily show. So something to check out. Looks like some of them are 2 hours. Oh no, these are watch parties, but the most shows are about half an hour long. So that's pretty cool. Bitcoin technical analysis and live streams. We'll subscribe to Matty B. Cool. Thanks for sharing that, Terry. TA is for TNA. Terry says, I was like number 31. All right, we're moving in the right direction here. And Morrow sent 500 humble sats for Arnie. Thank you, Morrow. Every sat is very appreciated, so don't feel like it's a humble amount. Every sat, even one. If you wanted to send one sat in, I would thank you just as much if you sent in 8,000 sats. That's how sats work to me. And somebody just zapped 369. That's a great zap. For good karma and lots of birdies today. From JF. I'm thinking that's Jason. So thank you, Jason. And if I'm wrong, I apologize to whoever that was. But thank you. DYOR. Get yourself a BitAxe. It's quite fun. Yeah, it is pretty fun. It's cool. It's a good learning experience. And I think that based on where I am here in Canada, I'm going to put a lot of use into the Bitcoin miners here. I'm going to implement it into my whole house here eventually once, I have a bit of purchasing power in the world because I don't right now. And it's just reality. It's just reality. If I look back to like my last, I don't know, pretty much ever since I discovered Bitcoin, it's kind of sad. And when I think about it this way, it is kind of sad, but like I haven't really bought anything for like 4 years. I've gone on a couple trips there for weddings and stuff, which we kind of wanted to go to. But outside of that, like I've just been, I've invested some stuff in my health. I've invested some stuff in food. I pay a little bit more for food because I think it's an important part of life. And if you don't have your health, Bitcoin doesn't mean anything. But other than that, like I've been so frugal in terms of what I've been spending on just because it's very hard for me to part with sats. It was easy to part with dollars when that was the only thing I was saving in. It's very easy because there's no benefit to saving it. There's zero reward for saving fiat. The only thing you get for saving fiat is less when you go to spend it. So when you get into when you figure out Bitcoin, when you understand scarcity and how important this asset is, you just have a very hard time wasting money. I think most people in Bitcoin would agree with that. So it's it's different, but it is fun. I don't even know how I got there, but I was talking about mining and fitting this house with some Bitcoin miners to help heat the house. Fuck, it's been cold here. Let's do a weather check here. Weather check. -30 feels like -42. Nice. Yesterday, so every day here, sorry, I won't waste too much time here, but every day here at about 4 o'clock, Arnie doesn't wear a wristwatch, but he knows when it's time to eat and when it's time to go for a walk and when the show is over, as you guys saw yesterday. As soon as we say goodbye, Arnie shows up. But anyways, at 4 o'clock yesterday, he was just sleeping. 4:30, sleeping. Usually he's like running around the house, doing laps, whining, ready to go. But yesterday he was sleeping at 4 o'clock. He was sleeping at 4:30. I had to wake him up. Usually when I push back my chair and it makes a noise, he just shoots up because he knows it's time to go. But because it was so cold yesterday, he was in zero rush. So we actually didn't go for a walk yesterday. Probably the first time since we've had him in a year. that we didn't go for a walk. I ended up barbecuing last night, actually, so I let him just kind of run around the house and do some laps, but it's cold here right now. It is really cold. For a dog like Arnie to be cold, it's cold. By the way, today is February the 11th, which is a big milestone in my life. This was the day 2 years ago. Oh, we got a couple zaps here. Wow. This was the day 2 years ago when I joined Nostr. This is my Nostr anniversary today. You can go, you can type in, this is a good resource for people to use, actually. Type in nostr.band. Yeah, I don't want to look it up there because there's a little bit of not private information on there, but stuff I don't really need to have on YouTube. But you can go to nostr.band and just search Jor, and you can see everybody's anniversary date. And I'm 99% sure mine is today. So this is my 2-year anniversary on Nostr. Lots of proof of work there. Lots of proof of work on Nostr. Bitcoin is a gift to mankind. Yes, 5th BitAxe on the way. Wow. Wow. Okay, I missed a couple of big zaps here. So we got one zap from somebody. Thank you for that. You called my bluff, and I appreciate that. Thank you. And then somebody sent in 999 sats. Said let's quite double humble sats to Arnie. There we go. So that was 9 total of 1,000 sats. 1 plus 999. So I'm guessing that might have been the same person. So thank you. And then somebody sent in 5,000 sats, and I think I saw it in the chat here. Jay. Thank you, Jay. 5,000 sats for Arnie. Very cool. Speaking of Arnie, I don't want to get too sidetracked here, but we are going to be, so about, I don't know, let's say 2 or 3 months ago, before Christmas time, we had a lot of traction going. We had a lot of momentum. We were building this fund up for rescue dogs like Arnie. And I think, I don't know the exact amount, but I'm pretty sure we have like 130 to 150,000 sats in that wallet for the rescue dogs. And I've been kind of slacking. I let it kind of slip away, but I want to revive it here because I think that that's going to be a very important initiative in the future, today and into the future. So I'll have more information on that. I think we're probably going to do, like, we were doing Mondays for the rescue dogs where all the zaps went to the rescue dog fund. And I think we're going to start doing that again next week, if I remember. Hopefully the zap stream will be working by then too. But yeah, I just wanted to give you guys a bit of an update on that because I still have it. It's still earmarked for the rescue dogs. We're still going to grow that fund. It's just, you know, there's been lots going on, as you guys know, and girls. Maple bacon. I know. I love that name because it sounds delicious. It makes me hungry. Amen said, how to make money in Bitcoin industry. That's a loaded question, my friend. That's about an hour conversation. And what I would say on that is I'm going to be doing it doesn't directly tie into Bitcoin, but something I'm planning on doing over these next couple months is doing a 1 per week show of just like business stuff, business ideas, things I've learned with this channel. Anybody who's like wanting to either start a side hustle or take their business and turn it into something of their own that they could do online. I'm going to be doing an 8-week course, once per week show, talking about how to make kind of like a side hustle, but you can convert all that money into Bitcoin, which is fucking awesome. So I'm going to be doing that. That's going to be for Living in the Future members only. There's not going to be a cap on it or anything. So you can, if you want to join that, if you want to, you know, be proactive with it, you can join. All the information's in the show notes. Isn't a huge fan of Winnipeg either. That's okay. Me neither. Tone. Ian says, has the Bitcoin Amigos still going, Jor? Unfortunately for now, the Bitcoin Amigos is on the back burner. Just there's a little bit of, I don't want to say too much because it's really none of my business, but there's a little bit of friction there. A couple things that were said, a couple things that happened. Nothing crazy, but it was just a couple people within the group just decided that they didn't want to work together anymore. So that's life. We had a lot of fun. I think we did 10 shows. It was a blast, and I love both those guys. But we'll see. Maybe we'll revive them in the future because that was a lot of fun. That was a fun show. Laughpad sent us that. We'll take it. We'll take it. Absolutely take it. No Name says Decentral, Solo Satoshi, and Tiny Chip Hub are good stores to get bit axes. Yeah, if you're looking for a bit axe, if you want to start solo mining, there's actually been 2 miners, solo miners, that have won blocks in the last week. There was one on yesterday, I think, or when was that? We saw it on the show. But and then there was one yesterday too. So if you're looking for a bit axe, just let me know. Let me know, because I'm in the process of getting my store set up again with Bitcoin miners. These bit axes here. Where is it? You can see it right there. I got 2 of them. Haven't hit a block yet, but I've learned quite a bit in the setup and just, following it. It's kind of cool. So if you want, if you're looking for a bit axe, they're about $200, I think, shipped. So they're not bad. It's a bit of an investment, but it's not something you're investing into to try to make a return on it. It's more of an investment in like education and being on Team Bitcoin, which I know isn't a great sales pitch, but it's that's what it is. Been that guy that only bought assets. Don't deny the hobbies and joys that aid in joy and longevity. I know. I need to put a little bit more emphasis on that. It's true. It's absolutely true. No shilling anything. Hey, I'm allowed to. I'm allowed to shill. Okay, let's get to the main talking point of today. So here's what I want to do. Actually, you guys are going to be an important part of this video today, believe it or not. But here's the plan. I'm going to post a clip of this on YouTube afterwards. Let me take this off. But you're going to need this. You're going to need this email because it plays a part of it. Oh, this is for my previous comment. I got you. Okay, so I'm going to need you guys in here. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to do 5 ways to improve Bitcoin. That's going to be the title of the show. So I'm going to take this live like I do with a lot of them and turn it into a clip. But there's going to be a couple things in here, including the 5th one is actually going to come from the audience. So I'm going to share my 4. I was trying to find a 5th, but I was like, you know what? I trust the community here. They're going to come up with something. So start thinking now of a way that you would improve Bitcoin. And we're going to go through the chats afterwards. It's going to be part of the same clip. And we're going to choose number 5. It's going to be from the audience here. Never done this before. I don't know if it'll work out or not, but I do have some backups too. I asked a question on nostr today. So if nobody in the chat has a good answer, then I'll refer to nostr. But I'm going to leave this one to you guys and girls. So I'm going to share 4, and then we're going to do the 5th one from the audience here. So start thinking about it, and kind of while I'm talking here, you can put it in the chat, and you guys will decide the number 5 here. So with this, with the clip that we're going to do here, I'm hoping it'll be about 10 or 15 minutes long. That's kind of what I've been trying to do for clips. And then we're probably going to have to wrap things up. So before I run things over time here, I just wanted to give one more shill, essentially. But Wednesdays, we don't do a live show on the channel here. Wednesdays are for the private community. So if you're interested in joining, you can either join through the channel as a Bitcoin Journeyman through the channel. It's $3 a month Canadian. So that's one way if you want to be watching the Wednesday shows. That's probably the easiest way. But if you want a little bit more, if you want to be part of the community within the Living in the Future, it's $5 a month. That's kind of the minimum to get in. So that happens every Wednesday. We do a live Q&A private for members only. So I just want to give you guys a bit of a heads up there for tomorrow, because there won't be a show on the channel here. But if you're interested in showing up, you want to be part of the conversation, one of the 2 things there. You can either join as a journeyman on the YouTube channel or through the Patreon there. So so I guess let's get to it here. Before, I'll just make sure we don't have any lingering chats here. Do you find it interesting a lot of former CPAs find their way to Bitcoin? I don't know. I haven't really met any other CPAs that are in Bitcoin, to be honest with you. I'm surprised that more CPAs haven't found their way to Bitcoin, because it's like, the triple entry accounting. It's like the new way to account. The new way to account for things is Bitcoin, because it self-audits itself. And you know what? Accountants actually should be a little bit worried about Bitcoin. That's what made me kind of dive into this thing, is I was like, you know what? I see where this thing's going. And I know that my job is going to be at risk here in the near future. I didn't think like next year or anything, but like in the near future, my job would be much less relevant. Because if you think about what auditors do, they take information and they verify it. They take whatever the bookkeeper, whatever the finance team has put into the financial statements and the bookkeeping program, and the auditors make sure that it's legitimate and accurate. So they can sign off on it and make sure that whoever they're providing their statements to, they're accurate. With Bitcoin, though, the Bitcoin network audits itself every 10 minutes. You don't need auditors in Bitcoin, which is a pretty big idea. So what's my background? Was I in finance before? Yes. I was a CPA here in Canada. Former CPA. I'm not anymore. I had to retire my letters because they were trying to charge me $1,500 a year to do nothing. So I had to retire my letters. But it's okay. I'll probably never use them again, to be honest with you. All right, let's get to her. So today we're going to be talking about 5 ways to improve Bitcoin. And it's not going to be anything technical again, but it is going to be things that I think we can implement and try to push change in our own way. So some of them are a little bit far-fetched. Some of them I think are actually doable, and some of them are just worth talking about. So we're going to go through 4 of them here, and I'm actually going to leave it to the live chat here to come up with number 5. I see some chats in the live chat already. But this is going to be a clip. So if you're watching this clip, all these clips come from the show that we do every morning, Daily Bitcoin Journey, 9 a.m. Eastern time on this channel here. So the audience is actually going to help choose number 5 today, ways we can improve Bitcoin. I see a couple good ones in there already. So let's kick it off with number 1. I think one way we could improve Bitcoin would be to change the way we sell Bitcoin. I saw a chart yesterday, a really good graphic, and this is something we've been talking about quite a bit on the show lately, but the ownership of Bitcoin. Right now, 70% of Bitcoin is held by individuals, us. About 15% of it, and growing, is owned by the public companies, the governments, the hedge funds, the BlackRocks of the world. They own about 15% of the Bitcoin right now. We hold 70. And so I think the one thing we need to improve within Bitcoin is when we go to sell it. I know Bitcoiners say never sell your Bitcoin, and that's a really good mentality to have. But the reality is that if you are living on Bitcoin and the majority of your assets are held within Bitcoin, at some point you're going to have to sell some of those sats to pay for whatever you need, because life's pretty unexpected. And you might need new tires, you might need a new water heater, you might need a new roof. And at some point, if you're all in on Bitcoin, you're going to have to part with some of those sats. So I think we need to put a big emphasis on how we sell those sats, because right now, for the most part, I would imagine that people, when they want to sell Bitcoin, they go onto their exchange that they usually use, they send it to the exchange, and then they convert it to dollars. But the problem with that is that's 70% that individuals hold right now versus 15 that the big boys have. All those sats that get sold on those exchanges are essentially going to flow into the BlackRock vacuum. That's going to shift from 70 from 70 and 15 to like 65, 20, and then 60, 25. And the more sats we keep selling on these exchanges, they're all just going to go to the big boys here. So what I would propose is sell to other Bitcoiners. Join at least one Bitcoin network where you can interact with people, you can find people that you trust. And when you do need to sell, you just say, hey, I got 500,000 sats to sell. Does anybody want to buy them? That way it's staying between the individuals. It's not going back to the exchanges. And just like when I send sats to my cold card, I know it's going to be there for a very long time. That's kind of my way of knowing that those sats are going to be locked up for a long time. And I think that we need to change our perspective in terms of whenever we get Bitcoin off an exchange, it should never go back onto the exchange for privacy reasons, for other tax reasons, but also just so that we can maintain our ownership here. Because the more average people, the more decentralized this is, and the less Bitcoin that the big boys have, the better this is going to be. So I think that that's one important thing that people should be paying more attention to, is when you need to sell your Bitcoin, when you need to sell some sats, find another Bitcoiner, find a family member, find somebody who's willing to buy that Bitcoin. You don't have to look very hard. You just got to put in a little bit of work, proof of work, but this is important. It's gonna be, it might not seem like a day-to-day, but over time, if we just keep selling our Bitcoin back to these exchanges, it ends up with BlackRock and the US government and Michael Saylor, that's going to be a problem for us. So we need to start taking this seriously today and into the future. This has to be a big part of the way we think about this, is don't sell it to the exchanges, sell it to another Bitcoiner. So that's number one. Number two is I really think that Bitcoin needs to have more education. We need to be way better with education than we are right now. And I know there's people working on it. There's people trying to figure out the best way to be educating people on Bitcoin. It's tough. I get it. There's no experts in Bitcoin. This thing's only 16 years old. But we do need to be thinking more about this, because this shouldn't be such a hard thing for people. People are very turned off by Bitcoin because they think it's complicated. And they think they need to understand it before they convert any dollars into Bitcoin. But that's not the case. Does anybody know how their cell phone works in the background? Does anybody know how their bank, their Visa card works in the background? No, but they still use it. So we just need to push education. And I really think that this starts at a lower level. And it's not that we have to put Bitcoin in schools. We don't need to have Bitcoin courses. It would be helpful. But I think we just need to start at the core, the root of the problem here, and teach people about money. Teach people about money and teach people about real history in our public school systems. And I know that's a big ask. It might not happen, especially here in Canada, for a while. But that has to be something that kids learn earlier. And I'm fairly certain that by the time my kids go through school, everything will have changed. It seems like we're kind of heading in that direction right now, that trending that way, with the whole education departments being kind of uprooted and questioned and shone spotlight on. So it could happen. But I really think that we have to focus as much as we can on education aspect of Bitcoin. And these number 2 and 3 kind of tie together. And I do actually have a couple proposals with that. So number 3 is Bitcoin needs much better marketing than it has. Much better marketing. And maybe this ties into education a little bit. And the thing with Bitcoin is that there's no CEO, right? There's no company that you can call. There's nobody who can plan, let's put out these educational courses. Let's market it this way to this segment of people. There's nobody that does that, because everybody's kind of on their own. And so what I propose here is something with education, something with marketing, is that maybe we just find some people and put together some sort of organization. I don't know what that is, but it's definitely possible if we start thinking about it in that terms, both marketing and education. And let's say that if we just play this out, if we think like, if we assembled like 50 of the best Bitcoin mines around the world, and we funded them maybe through sats, maybe we self-fund them, who knows? But there's a way that we can do this. And then we put together this course and this marketing thing, maybe an education sector, maybe a marketing sector. And they go to work, they get it done, and they push this thing forward. But the nice thing about that is you don't really need to have a company here. You don't need to have like a CEO. You don't need any of that. Even if there's centralized departments within Bitcoin, like education, like marketing, it's not going to change the actual distribution of Bitcoin, right? The education fund here isn't going to get like 20% of the Bitcoin as a budget here, and they're going to have influence and control over the network. That's not how this works. So we already have the foundation, the Bitcoin network, that is fully decentralized and spread out across this world. But if we just allocate some resources to education, to marketing, and maybe a couple other things, and we hire teams to do this, it's going to happen eventually, and people are kind of organically being exposed to Bitcoin and learning about Bitcoin. But I think that this would just be the jet fuel that we need. And we might be running out of time, truthfully, because when the US government shows up and announces that they're buying Bitcoin, it's pretty much over for the average person, which is unfortunate, but it is the reality of things. So that's number 2 and 3 is more education, better marketing. And this one kind of ties into this. Number 4 kind of ties into this as well. But I think that if Bitcoin had a different name, it would be much more popular. And this is my theory. This is my theory on Bitcoin. That if you took the characteristics of the dollar, the supply cap, the issuance schedule, the control, the everything. If you had a list of characteristics to do with the dollar that we use every day, and then you had another sheet that had the characteristics of Bitcoin, and you could compare them back and forth. One has an unlimited supply of trillions. One has a fixed supply of 21 million. And you went line by line. And it didn't say dollars. It didn't say Bitcoin on it. It just was 2 sheets, characteristics of a good asset. And you asked people, you had 1,000 people in there. And you said, which currency would you rather use? Which currency do you think would be better for the world? 1 or 2, not dollars or Bitcoin, but 1 or 2. I guarantee you, out of those 1,000 people, there's probably, 1% of bozos out there who just don't have a clue about anything. But I would say 99% of people would choose Bitcoin without not even knowing what it is. That would be the key there, is that they didn't have the name Bitcoin on it. So I know it's hard because on one side of things here, you have a name, a brand, a logo that the entire world recognizes. So that's like a very positive thing for Bitcoin itself. On the negative, though, that also carries all this baggage from the last 16 years of negative marketing around it, which is hard to overcome, as we've seen. It's very difficult for people to twist their mind and understand that maybe everything I've heard about Bitcoin isn't necessarily truth. So if we change the name of Bitcoin, we would have a fresh start. People might look at this thing more objectively. It wouldn't carry all the environmental concerns, the used by criminals concerns, the Ponzi scheme stuff. So that's kind of the hard part for me, is like, which one's more important, it being globally recognized or carrying all this baggage around? So number 4 would be potentially a different name. And this might play out organically too, because I think that over the next 5 years here, there's not a whole lot of people who are going to be knowing what the price of Bitcoin is. Because when we get to a price of $1 million per Bitcoin, which I don't think is very far away, at that point, it's going to be 1 sat, which in every 1 Bitcoin, there's 100 million sats. So 1 sat equals 1 cent. At that point, I think we're going to start measuring the price in sats instead of Bitcoin. So this might happen organically. We might kind of shed our skin, our baggage behind organically, which is probably better, instead of forcing it on people. But that would improve Bitcoin, would be a different name that people have no ill feelings towards, and they don't have 16 years of negative press around Bitcoin. So that's number 4. And like we mentioned here, we're going to go to the chat here for number 5. So we'll see. We got a couple in the chat. I got a couple from Nostr, and maybe we'll spend the next 5 minutes here picking the right one. So that's my 4. Change the way we sell Bitcoin, number 1. Number 2, increase our Bitcoin education resources. Number 3 would be do some better marketing within Bitcoin. Help explain it to people. 2 and 3 kind of tie together there, but that's okay. And number 4 is maybe we change the name of Bitcoin. Again, not likely to happen, but it would improve Bitcoin because it would shed all the negative stuff around Bitcoin that we've been programmed to believe for the last 16 years by the people who don't want us to be using Bitcoin, i.e. the government, i.e. the media. So let's spend the next 5 minutes here going through some comments in terms of what else we can improve. And if we can't find one, we'll defer to Nostr because I got some good comments in there. Time lock wallet. I think that these already exist. I think that this is something you have to remember, that Bitcoin is programmable money, which is kind of cool. It's programmable money. But the thing about that is you actually have to, well, I guess you could use it for your own applications, but you have to come to a consensus within the network. So if we do want to change something, we could. It's not up to one person or one group of people. It's up to the majority of Bitcoiners, the consensus. I love this one. This would be a great idea. if there's a way that Bitcoin UTXOs could automatically consolidate. And I do believe probably within the next couple of years, we will see something like that. I do, because again, it's programmable money. You have the ability to do things like this. I already got that one. No wonder you and Rajat work so well together. What about Forrest? I don't know. That's a good question. Forrest is just a good dude. We kind of got all three bases covered with Maple Bitcoin. We got the West Coast, Forrest. We got Central, me, and we got East, kind of East, Rajat. So we got all parts of Canada, all different perspectives and expertise. But yeah, that's kind of why me and Rajat started chatting, actually, because we're both come from finance. Timber Crasher says Bitcoin needs more sovereign individuals running their own nodes and their own hash. That is a good point. I just don't know how you would enforce that, though. I don't know how you would enforce that. Terry says your QR code, is that a received Bitcoin address? Yes, it is. You can use the Lightning wallet if you want to send, if you've been learning anything, you're getting any value, you can send some sats. And we just got a zap, actually. 188 sats from Jackson and Spaceman. So Jackson is the dog there, I believe, and Spaceman is the humans. Thank you. But yes, you can use, goes to Arnie's wallet. That's right, Ahsoka. Arnie's QR code on the screen goes to a Lightning wallet. That's right. Bitcoin Ben says states are buying in 2 weeks. Wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me. Okay, what do we got here? Cleaning Machine says Youth Bitcoin Network. 2 of my 6 grandchildren want to know how it all works. Yeah, that's actually a really good idea. And maybe that goes back to the education aspect of this. Not really Bitcoin education, but the education system itself. If people understood money better, they would feel much differently about Bitcoin. And even for myself, we were just talking about my financial background. I was a CPA for almost 10 years. And so I went through college, university, the CPA program. I minored in economics. My dad worked in a bank for 40 years. And when I realized how little I knew about money after getting into Bitcoin, that's when everything changed for me. Because somebody who went through all that financial, time in finance still doesn't know what money is. That's a huge, huge problem for the world. And it's by design too, because they don't want you to know that they can print money. But yes, that's a great idea. There it is. Thank you, Buck52. That's the list there that we got. We're looking for number 5 here. We got a couple good ones. Okay, sorry, Johnny. I can't get to that right now. We're in the middle of something here. What do we got here? Every Bitcoiner's house should have 33% owned hash, 33% owned node, and 33% owned all Bitcoin and cold storage. That way we decentralize all aspects. That's cool. That's a good roadmap there. I like that. Buck52 says, get mainstream media, quit bashing Bitcoin and creating fear. Yeah, that's kind of what number 4 was kind of based around, is that the media has just bashed it as much as they can do. And it just hangs around in people's minds, because when they've actually spent 0 time learning Bitcoin for themselves, all they have to rely on, their opinions are all based on what they've heard from other people. And the majority of people that they hear are from their phones or on their TV. So that's why there's such a negative connotation around Bitcoin. All right. Eric says payment processors could offer incentives to small businesses to accept Bitcoin as a payment method. Payment processors could offer incentives. Yeah, except the problem with that is, Eric, is that payment processors don't like Bitcoin, because when businesses are accepting Bitcoin over Lightning, their 3% fee disappears. Right now, the payment processors make every company on earth that makes money, they don't even have to make a profit, but if they make money selling things, the payment processors get 3% of every single transaction that happens on earth. Do you think that they're going to want to incentivize Bitcoin, which they don't make any money off of? Thing is there probably will be some companies. Like, I think that Visa's actually been investing in the Lightning Network for a lot of years now. So they might actually implement Lightning into their systems, which would basically just make it easier for the business to accept Bitcoin. And they might take a fee of Bitcoin for that, kind of during this transition phase. I think that might be the Visa's kind of last chance to, hang on to some of that. So Jen says, as a boomer, what is the first book you'd recommend I'd share with my family? Good question. I don't really have a good answer to that, because I don't think that anybody who doesn't know anything about Bitcoin would be interested in reading a book about Bitcoin. I think it has to happen in a different way. But Jay says Bitcoin is Venice. I've heard that one's good too. Yes, Ginger. This is number 5. I don't care what else is said after this. This is number 5. We're calling it right here, because I agree with this and I didn't think about this. That's why I wanted to rely on the chat for this. So thank you. It says no paper Bitcoin, and we know exactly what exchanges, companies, countries, etc. actually own. Yes. That is the winner. That's number 5. Stamp it. Stamp it in there. So I got something else cool to share with you guys here. So that is, we're going to leave it there. Sorry, I know there's some other ones here, but that's the winner. So here's what I want to say, because I got to go here in a couple minutes. But this is what I'm going to tell you. So we got Bitcoin education. That was number 2. And I want to share a couple things here. So number 1, if you are somebody who's just new into Bitcoin, you want to, round out your knowledge. You want to learn about security, key management, UTXOs, all this stuff. Consider joining the Patreon. It's 365 days of Bitcoin, 1 Bitcoin video every day for a whole year. We're on day 42 today. All videos are about 10, 15 minutes long. Plus, you're going to get a nice certificate at the end of it. And who knows what that will be worth one day. Not financially, but like overall, what it'll be worth. Who knows? Might be worth nothing, might be worth a lot. Number 2 is we got our new channel, Maple Bitcoin. I want to bring this up here quickly for everybody to see, because there's going to be a lot of focus on Bitcoin only education from these 3 guys here. So this is another really good way if you're interested in learning about Bitcoin without having to pay a fee for it. I mean, it's a little bit different. This is a lot more in depth and, timeline, because you have to keep in mind here that, within Bitcoin, there's a lot of information. You can pretty much find whatever you need to online for free. That's the world that we live in now. But with something like 365 days of Bitcoin, it's a journey, it's a process, it's where to start. That's what you need to know. You need to know 2 things: who you can trust and where to start. You have all the information you need out there. But that's why the 365 days of Bitcoin is good, because it's in order of things you need to know. So Maple Bitcoin is for a little bit more well-rounded, I would say, overview. But looks like we had quite a few people subscribe over this show today, which is kind of cool. So Maple Bitcoin, check them out, or check us out. I don't know if I already put this in the chat or not. Did I? Yeah, I did. So that's there. That's number 2. And then finally, something I want to share for people here. Just, I don't know. I like doing this stuff. But one thing I'm going to do is I'm actually coming up with 8 things for Bitcoiners. Basically like the 10 commandments of the Bible, thou shalt not, etc. But it's going to be the same for the Bitcoin version of it. So I'm going to call it 8 Satoshis. It's something, a venture that's coming in the future, but it's going to be called 8 Satoshis. And I have 8 things on a piece of paper, a nice document, easy to read, easy to follow, that you can just kind of keep and you can refer back to, or you can share with friends or family or whoever. Anybody you orange pill or get into Bitcoin, you can send them this. So I was going to upload it onto a website and share the link on there, but I want to do something a little bit different. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create 88 of these. I'm not going to sell them. I'm not going to launch a coin or anything like that. They're going to be free. So just before everybody gets their panties in a knot here, it's okay. It's going to be free. So what you're going to do, you're going to send an email here. You're going to put the title is going to be 8 Satoshis in caps. So I know. I'll send you a copy of it, and I'm actually going to go through. This is going to take me some time, but I want to do this. I'm going to put a serial number on each. So it's going to be number 1 of 88, number 2 of 88, number 3 of 88. It's going to be kind of like a collector's item that might not be worth anything. It might be worth a little bit in the future. Either way, I want to kind of reward the people who are here watching the show today and who have, been following the channel so far. It's going to be a very good guide for people to just kind of bookmark, keep fresh in their mind. It's going to help you secure your Bitcoin for generations to come. So this is going to be the inaugural launch of 8 Satoshis today. And again, I'm going to serial mark these in order of emails received. So if Ahsoka sends one at 936, and then $1.52 sends one at 937. Ahsoka is going to be number 1 of 88. $1.52 is going to be 2 of 88. So again, this probably isn't going to be like a resale thing. People are going to be able to replicate this, but I still think it's kind of cool. So once we get past the 88, then I'm just going to kind of post it for everybody to have. But I wanted to give a little bit of an incentive here for people to shoot me an email, get the PDF or the copy of this in a kind of customized way and a collectible way. I'm a collector myself, so I like doing stuff like this. So that's my proposal to you. So again, just to round this out, we had change the way we sell Bitcoin, sell it to each other, improve our Bitcoin education and start at a very grassroots level with the kids in schools, teaching them about money, which will eventually evolve into Bitcoin. Number 3 is we needed a better marketing team. Maybe we start hiring Bitcoiners to start marketing this thing a little bit better. Number 4 was maybe change the name Bitcoin so it doesn't carry the same negative bullshit that we've been carrying around for the last 16 years. Unlikely, but it would improve things. And number 5, from our friend Ginger in the chat here. No paper Bitcoin. We know exactly what exchanges, companies, countries actually own. Proof of reserves. When we have proof, when we standardize and normalize proof of reserves for countries, companies, and funds, BlackRock's, that's when everything changes. That's when people realize the true scarcity of Bitcoin. And until we have that, we're just going to have exactly what we've had for the last 100 years, just paper bullshit floating around in the wind. So Bitcoin is truly scarce. That is its number 1 characteristic in my mind. And we have to verify that to people and show just how scarce this asset is. Because when people know how scarce this asset is, that's when the value really shoots up. Cleaner Machine. Hey, Sergio. Morning, buddy. Good morning. Cleaner Machine said, Maple Bitcoin, very professional show and ocean of information. Yeah, that's kind of, it is going to be a little different than this channel. I swear a lot on here. I talk about some conspiracy stuff. I'm a little bit unhinged some days. People like it. A lot of people don't like it. But with Maple Bitcoin, it's going to be something that you can send to your friends and family, your mom, your son, and you're going to feel confident knowing that we're not going to say anything stupid on there or swear or anything like that. So it is going to be very professional and very focused on spreading Bitcoin adoption and really prioritizing Bitcoin only, which is important. When people, for the first time getting into Bitcoin, they type it in. What is Bitcoin? Where can I find information about Bitcoin? And instead of them, a big altcoiner with a nice fancy graphic and a surprised face, baiting them in to click their bullshit, we need good Bitcoin only resources here. And I think the Maple Bitcoin is going to be that for a lot of people. So that is, you can just actually search at Maple Bitcoin in YouTube. It's also in the show notes here at the very top, and you can find it that way. So that's it. I'm late. I got to go, but I hope you enjoyed that today. So thank you once again, everybody, for the zaps. Very generous today. Yesterday was a tough show for the zaps. My salary was very low yesterday. But, it was sent back. Okay, that's not good. I emailed your Proton email, but it was sent back. How can I contact you? Happy to send sats for your time and support. Okay, well, hopefully this, I know in the last couple of weeks, we've had a couple different addresses here, this being one of them. I hope this is working. So if you email this with your, looking for your 8 Satoshis and it gets kicked back, just email 88sats@proton.me. That one I know that I'll get, unless that's where you sent it to. But where is that here? It's not even on here. Perfect. 88 sats. I'll put it in caps here just in case. This will be your backup. Sorry. I'm going through a few different things here within my email stuff. And so if that doesn't work, try this one. But this one should work. I want to do everybody going to the same place so I can do it in order. I can number them in order, completely free, and just kind of a cool keepsake, plus useful. So that's it. And Arnie showed up to say bye to everybody. Oh, another fad zap here, you guys. My goodness. My goodness. Matt said, just zapped and joined Living the Future. Wow. What if you guys are fucking legends, man. Honestly. That is awesome. That is so awesome. 8,880 sats from Matt. Just zapped and joined Living the Future. Sergio, you should join Living the Future too, man. That's where we buy and sell Bitcoin. That's what I'm talking about here. That's what everybody should be focused on, is finding places you can, absolutely, finding places you can, sorry, I'm kind of hyped up right now. Finding people you can buy and sell sats with so they don't end up in the fucking BlackRock vacuum. That's the point of this. Because every sat you sell to the exchanges, that's going to the people that we do not like. We can't control who owns Bitcoin, but we can control where our Bitcoin goes to. I should have said that in the thing. Anyways, Arnie can definitely hear the inflection in the voice when we're preparing to say bye. It's kind of crazy. Anyways, Arnie said, thanks for all the zaps today, buddy. All right, he's ignoring us. Thanks, everybody. Once again, we'll see. Tomorrow's going to be Wednesday, so it's a private show. So if you want to show up tomorrow, join Living the Future or join as a journeyman on the channel here. Thanks, everybody. Very much appreciate you. And we'll see you tomorrow or Thursday. Bye-bye.